Easy now, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time again. It's me, DJ Gambler, alongside with the ICC, the International Carib Copper Council. And today's Arawak chat is a special episode as we have a special guest. A guest by the name of Brother Blue Voduom. But before we get into all them thing there, listen.
There's a man that lives next door in my neighborhood. In my neighborhood, he gets me drowned. He gets in so late at night, always a fuss and fight, always a fuss and fight, all through the night. I've got to get away from here. This is not a place for me to stay. I've got to take my family and find a quiet place. Hear the bat and hands them fall, bang against the wall, bang against the wall, no rest at all. I've got to get away from here. This is not a place for me to stay. I've got to take my family and find a quiet place. Hear the bat and hands them fall, bang against the wall, bang against the wall, no rest at all. I've got to get away now.
Oh, that's a bit of a quick cut, that one there. But a tune entitled Horace Andy and the tune entitled I've Got to Get Away. Now, today's episode is Arawak Chat. However, this is entitled Out of the Blue, Volume 1. Mr. Hard Stepper, over to you. Mr. Hard Stepper.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Right. Yes. What's good, people? It's me, Copper Hotstep, as usual. Our web chat. And this time around, like Gambler said, we have got a new addition on the stream for today. Brother Blue Voduom. So big up to him for coming on the stream. And basically, I've got him on the stream today just so we can chat to you about one or two things. He's actually over here in the UK as well, but he's not in London. He lives out in Nottingham, which is a bit further away from where me and Copper Fox and Gambler and Nakono and some of the other council members are at. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that's in the stream. Right, well, okay, 10 people, okay. So Doodoo Vision, Lady Leg 75, Original Copper Empress Holder. Who else we got?
Big
Ron
ups.
Redford, Indigenous Indigo.
Big ups.
And LJ3's just popped in. What's good, sis?
Big ups. Big ups, everyone in the chat.
Okay,
shout out to Brother Carrie Beck.
Just come through. What's good?
Big ups.
All right, this is a good turnout. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce the brother now. So, what's good, Blue?
What one?
All right, so basically, I suppose we're going to kick it off now with just give the people just a little bit about yourself, your journey, how you came across what you know, what you understand about your people, and what that means for your understanding of, I suppose, history as a whole.
Yeah, man, that's cool still. Well, obviously, basically, I was born in St. James in Jamaica. A parish called John's Hall. That place at that time was just being developed. It wasn't really, there was about 2,000 people there. There was one school, Christian school, New All Age it was called. I went there until I was like 8, and then my mum decided she wanted to come to England. At the time, me being that age, I wasn't sure really how it was gonna be. To be honest, I wasn't very excited. But being in Jamaica, you do get a lot of the English and American TV, and yeah, when I came over here, it was a culture shock. I'm not gonna lie, it was totally different for me as a young boy as well. Obviously it was cold, and there was what surprised me the most was like when I did come to Nottingham and started getting a little older, there was a big Caribbean, West Indian or even Jamaican population that was born and bred over here and didn't know too much about their heritage, not even history, heritage. Notice it's got the her, you know what I'm saying? So I started being able to get certain information from my father, who came back into my life. He'd been taught, I hate even talking. He was taught like Freemasonry, so I was taught certain bits about history, geography, stuff I was just things you get taught at school that basically in just indoctrinations. I was taught against them early on. So in that respect, a pale face did something good for me, even though it was my father. So yeah, just from like 15, I started trying to find more of my family in Nottingham, in England, and found a big population of Robinsons that all stem from Jamaica. So then when I started getting a bit more enlightened of what I wanted to do to basically feed myself back into where I come from, I started trying to find out more of a link to my family over there. It was hard because Jamaica is very devout in its Christian practices. A lot of the dark-skinned ladies of a certain age are very, very devout, were very devout. So me trying to find out my history, I mean my heritage, my lineage, was hard at first. But with accounts and paperwork, with documentation that my mum's mum had, so my great-great-grandma had, she had documentations of some of my family members in war, some of them who had jobs, people who were employed, you know, they had land. One of my he would be like my great uncle. He was a known tailor. These are the things that we were good at. We were good at being efficient. We were an efficient people. My mum stems from the Pequot tribe. That's where I stem from, and that's a tribe that was in and around in the Americas, that got moved, got relabeled, and got butchered, murdered, savaged, killed, you know, displaced, misinformed, and this is what's stopped us from getting anywhere almost. This is what's making a lot of people come to a halt, come to a stop, giving people that impression that, you know, we're that misled, and all over the place that we can't even find our own lineage, but you can. You just need to know how to look, where to look. You need to persevere. You need to find and realize that although a lot of our family in the Caribbean are Christians and whatnot, they never still talk about being African. And this is the ultimate thing. When we actually get that out of our head and start realizing that we're disrespecting where we come from by saying that we're African, that's one of the biggest indoctrinations there could be, because it's took your consciousness, it's took your mind, your thought, the way you think. So me personally, when I was young, 15, 16, like I said, I started getting into books. I started getting into the books my father told me to get into. He took me to certain classes. He told me about some of the people that autochthonous one speaks about. You know, he told me about Pan-Europeanism before Pan-African. He explained why that was, and then he explained why the Pan-African doctrine came out. There's a lot of doctrinations that we don't even see as indoctrinations, and this is what's mashing us up as well, giving us a false sense of security, if you can say that. Even with this new thing that we're Akan, the Akan from Ghana, and I'm just trying to see how, like, where's that in my family line? I can't find it. I see one tribe. Well, I see two. I see the Iroquois and the Pequot, but more prominent the Pequot. And then that stops. That stops, and then the name Robinson is on documents then. So I don't know if that happened from when the people who came in the 1790s to a certain region to move my people, take their land, take their acreage and farm. And then it's like, I've got documents of certain family members that was imprisoned, and it only says for like 64 days and 90 days and things like that. You know, 1 year, 5 days. I've got 3 documents that say that. But these are in Jamaica. I don't trust myself with stuff like that. That needs to be kept under lock and key. But like I say, I'm not finding nothing about them being slaves neither. Even they weren't captured. They must have moved to Jamaica, just like when the British moved some more of my family to Jamaica in the 50s. I mean, to Britain in the 50s from Jamaica. Said thing. So it's just a long line of like what they've done to our people, and for some reason they want us to think that we're African. I don't really know why, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. When I think about all the reasons why, I don't really know why. One thing sticks out, and it's mainly because of the agriculture of Africa. It's barren. There's nothing there really. It's dusty.
Facts.
It's hard to irrigate the land. So I'm just thinking, is that why? And because let's be honest, we know now that Africa was full up by the displacement of the copper-colored king and queens and the loyalists to the king and queens in Europa in the 1700s, and we know that like what the Dunda versus was about in the 1500s, and we know there was a 31-year war where they displaced a lot of people in Europe and moved them to Africa. Yep. We also know that they did the same thing in the world wars, amongst killing many of us as well, that don't ever get told about.
Yep.
So, yeah, man. We also know as well, I think there was a man called James Mason, not Mason, James, oh man, what was his name? might be James March or something. I think it was the 1620s or the 1720s was doing this, asking the indigenous Americans to go over to Africa to populate what is now Sierra Leone.
Right.
So I've just basically tried to correlate so much information over a long time to try and put it all together, and only in the last 5 years it's kind of making sense now. And I think that's due to a lot of us waking up, realizing who we are, where we're from, how we became. And me personally, like I say, I haven't had to like even announce any of this before, like to push my heritage out or anything. And at first I was a bit like, do I really want to? What's the point? And then I thought, there's a big point. And the more I'm doing it now, the more excited I get. The fact that I'm not from England, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Yamaka. You know what I'm saying? That's where my family's from. That's where my line, that's where my lineage from. That's where we're Tongchong from. You know what I'm saying? Like all around, we've just seen on one of my maps where we come from. So, nah, I'm not into this indoctrination no more, and I'm not into people coming telling me that we're all African, and I'm mixed race as well. So, people might not like hearing it from me because I've got the invader in me. But like I say, I don't care. My mum's from a tribe, and she can trace that, and through her I can. I can't trace nothing from the Ashanti tribe. I don't even know about the Ashanti tribe. When I've tried to look about the Ashanti tribe, I can't really find nothing about them. There's no lineage of them.
Wow.
Same with like
straight like that.
Yeah, it's true. Come on, man. But yeah, I'm just gonna chill and listen, see what feedback we get.
No,
well, with the blue, I have to say that is an astounding intro. Big ups.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like nervous, a little nervous still, car. Like I say, I've never had to explain anything before. But yeah, I don't know. It's good to be asked, isn't it? It's good to get asked these things, car. We don't get asked, we get told. You know what I'm saying? We get told everything. We get told who we are, and now we're telling people who we are, and if they don't like it, I don't give a, you know what.
No, straight up, man. Yeah, like Gabby said, man, my introduction, man. And I'm gonna touch when you said the reasoning behind why would modern Europeans have you think that all people of a brown or copper skin automatically equates to an African ancestry? I mean, this is the question that our people ask all the time. Or if it isn't true, why would they tell us that? And a lot of people argue that, that it must be true because it means that we are all unified and it's brought us closer together. But then my answer to this is always, well, has it really? Has it brought us together? And if so, can you show me within a tangible context how it's done that? Because if it's brought us all together, why are you still campaigning for your rights? Why are you still talking about needing to go back home? Why are you still saying you're not sure what your tribal name was back in the village of so-and-so before the white man beat it out of you, and so forth? You know?
You know what I find quite strange, what people don't seem to pick up on as well? Like, we've spoke about this also as well, but like, the main different African or Iberian or whatever you want to call them, Abyssinian or whatever, are the Ethiopians, who are now called the Ethiopians. They're the different. Them Somalians with the big heads. No disrespect, they got a bigger forehead. They don't look like brothers in Europe. Them ones in Europe look like us in the Americas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, why? The people up in like is it like Papua New Guinea and them places there? The Samoans and that. They've got certain phenotypes like us as well.
Do you know how crazy
they
it is
don't
as
look
well?
nothing like Africans.
Yeah, it's crazy because you can even find so-called South Asians, or what people would call Hindus or East Indians, that will have a phenotype of someone in your family today right now.
Yeah, but that's because of the when them British was like taking, like, all right then, they've told us that they brought over the indentured so-called Hindustan people, right? But they were taking us over there first.
Yeah.
Because remember, you had the British who was the Raj in the 1800s. They were taking Indians from India in the 1800s, late 1800s, but they were also taking our people from the Americas before that up to there as well. Otherwise, why have they called it India? You don't get Hindu or Sindhu or Hindustan and make India. Them words don't go together at all. You get me? That's why Trinidad and all them places and St. Kitts and St. Vincent's and all of them white man names are just full of Indian people now.
Yeah.
They brought over the Chinese, like the start of the 1820s. They were coming over. They didn't come over no ice sheet. You're mad. They didn't come over then. No, yo, I knew this when I was young.
Yeah.
Them Chinese ain't been over that long. Otherwise, why is it like in our generation, everything's getting ramped up by them? Like, it seems like they're really forcing themselves in there now in Jamaica and in Africa, the Chinese. You get me? They're the last set of people to come. We've had the Spanish, the French, the British, and now the Chinese, who they call the Mongoloids or the Mongols. You know? So, yeah, man. Just top the line.
Exactly. I don't know, when I now think about the situation at hand and I look at it properly, it actually reminds me of something that I covered in media studies at school. So we touched on something called the suspension of disbelief, and basically I'm going to quickly screen share and I'm just going to show everybody what that actually is. So let me put up the screen a bit. And when I read through this, I'm sure you're going to see where I'm going with this. So, the suspension of disbelief. So, in the world of fiction, you are often required to believe a premise which you would never accept in the real world, especially in genres such as fantasy and science fiction. Things happen in the story which you would not believe if they were presented in a newspaper as fact. Even in more real-world genres such as action movies, the action routinely goes beyond the boundaries of what you think could really happen. In order to enjoy
Mr. Hotstepper.
Could you possibly rewind and come again?
So, in the world of fiction, you are often required to believe a premise which you would never accept in the real world, especially in genres such as fantasy and science fiction. Things happen in the story which you would not believe if they were presented in a newspaper as fact. Even in more real-world genres, such as action movies, the action routinely goes beyond the boundaries of what you think could really happen. Make believe. Exactly. Oh, it was good, Cheap Holiday. What's good?
Shout out to Cheap Holiday in the chat. Big ups. Shout out to everybody else that's just joined.
Let's keep going. So, in order to enjoy such stories, the audience engages in a phenomenon known as suspension of disbelief. This is a semi-conscious decision in which you put aside your disbelief and accept the premise as being real for the duration of the story. So, suspension of disbelief only works to a point. It is important that the story maintains its own form of believability and doesn't push the limits too far. There are many factors of the budding story writer or filmmaker to consider, including the following. So the initial premise can be quite outrageous as long as the story maintains consistency within that premise. So again, the initial premise can be quite outrageous as long as the story maintains consistency within that premise. So even if the storyline is stupid and it shouldn't make sense on a normal day, if you keep repeating it for a day, a week, a month, a year, a century, a decade, it will become believable to you. So there are many things about the Star Trek universe which are basically impossible in the real world. But because Star Trek makes an effort to work consistently within its own universe, the stories become believable. For example, as long as you're willing to accept that the galaxy is mostly populated by humanoids, then there is nothing within the series that will break that believability. So the quality of special effects must be believable. It is harder to suspend disbelief in movies where the special effects appear fake. The genre will determine the lengths to which you can push believability. Audiences will be willing to believe an action hero can perform superhuman feats, but the same feats performed suddenly in a romantic drama would result in confusion and disbelief. Some stories purposely push the suspension of disbelief to the limit. The Indiana Jones movies were a good example, where the audience was expected to find the improbable antics amusing. One important area of belief is in human actions and emotion. People must act, react, and interact in ways which are believable. In cases where such interactions do require suspension of disbelief, the normal rules of consistency apply. Audiences are very unforgiving if they think a character is behaving in an unbelievable fashion. So for me personally, I think this sums up the whole, Africa slave paradigm down to a T. I don't see how it's any different to a real life movie.
Facts.
Like it's
Straight.
The blueprint is literally there. They're literally telling you they scripted this whole thing the same way how they get you to believe in Spider-Man or Ethan Hunt or James Bond or the guy from Taken or any of these films. What's the difference?
This is what they've done with space and the ball Earth.
Yeah.
And dinosaurs and asteroids. Meteorites. They've given us this false consciousness that they want us in panic. They want us in pandemonium. They want us in terror, running around, never settled. Like when you watch TV, all the soaps, always depressing. Everything's depressing. They don't want you to be your normal self. So, we're like constricted almost into having to subscribe to this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And it's worse when you don't even know what you're subscribing to.
Yeah.
Like, I know now, Wagwan, I've known for a hot minute, but some people are stuck in this so-called matrix and can't get out. They think they're woke, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? They're walking around dreaming in a dream state still. Cause it's not a joke out here, man. It's not a joke out here, serious. Man, I got children, you know what I'm saying? Growing up, thinking like they come from monkeys from Africa into space, be an astronaut, telling us that the world could explode if a meteorite hits it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to tell us they brought over 12 million slaves to an area that was like overpopulated already with copper color people of all tones. Like, come on. Man, I critically thought about these things now and dissected them. And it's foolishness. I'm not ramping no more. Any information I get given, I don't care even if it looks true. I want to see how true it is. Cause I'm not infecting my brain no more.
Right.
So like that thing there that you read out, that's yeah. Not many people are even aware of that kind of what's going on like that. not even aware at all. And it's true, just like with this Africa thing, because look what's come with it. Films, a certain clothing, a certain pride, you know, a certain way of being. Yet look how we act. It's like white people trying to rap in this rap game. You know what I'm saying? You've got all the props, but you're white. It's not you. And that's like us running around all Egypt up, chemic, you know what I mean? All this chemic thing. We're running around in all of that consciousness, yet that's not us. We don't even act that way.
Right.
We act how we act from where we're from where our music's come from where our sports come from, where our science has come from. We act like that. We are the forebearers of many things. Without our people, there'd be no music. You wouldn't have no scarf for them white people. You know what I'm saying? You won't have none of these white people jumping on nothing. Because it'll be dead. The food, the menus, everything dead. The dieting dead.
Facts.
You get me? You wouldn't have nothing. Thousands and thousands of inventions that we made. Yet we think that we're sub-Saharan African fools. Sure.
The way I look at it as well, it just came to me a few months ago, was that the way I see it as well is a mother's influence is everlasting on her children. Even if the children veer off in other directions of life, and obviously a child develops their own psyche, which is unique to themselves, they still carry traits of the mother that were taught. You know, this is how you cook your chicken, or this is how you make up your bed, whatever it is. You know, the two or three things from the mother's, you know, teachings will remain with the child. So then if we just narrow it down to a national level of here in the UK, and we don't even need to go as far out as the Americas, but you know, where is the influence of where is referred to as the motherland in everyday culture that the conglomerate of, you know, different species of people occupying here live out in their day-to-day lives. I mean, when people talk slang in England, what part of the world is their slang representing? Is it representing the motherland, or is it representing the Americas? When people are watching sport, which events and competitions within, you know, the Olympics are they most excited to watch, and who are the top performers in those sports, and where do they originate from? Do they represent the motherland, or do they represent the Americas? You see, when you start breaking down the culture that everybody's trying to live out in their day-to-day lives, it doesn't match up with, you know, the motherland that they're selling you. If that's the case, then everybody should be trying to talk with a slang, a dialect or slang, which embodies the cultures of over there. If you know, the national dish of this country should represent the motherland that they speak so you know, scientifically of. But there's too much contradiction where nothing that's being done by anybody here, you know, pays any homage to over there, including the people that are genuinely indigenous to over there. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, my mum said that we spoke a form of Algonquian because there was different forms of it. Bearing in mind, there was like probably about at least 100 tribes who would have spoke that form, because we had quite a few alphabets, or we didn't even call them alphabets, but we had quite a few of what's now called alphabets in them days there. That's why some of our words were able to interchange as well. You get me? The Hebrew that the white man came over to look for, because obviously they knew that you had some of the carbonated Europeans coming over and doing the same thing that their white counterparts did. If you want to be honest, God, they did. The Stuart family, which come from Suave, were dark skin, copper color, mulatto. You know, Charles Quinta went to Peru, and you can see what he did. You can see he was the last king of Peru. And when I went to Peru, they're just white. Everything's white. The white, like, oh, it's all new in it. It's all white. God, it was like at least a 6-king succession or something like that in Peru, and then you got Charles Quinta, who came over in like 1620s and displaced them people there. Because we was already coming back and forth. He was already doing that. Sure. So yeah, I do believe that some of the lingo that we were speaking, not languages, lingo that we were speaking, our indigenous tongue, has made quite a few other languages as well. European languages and not lingos. Because language is different to lingo. The language is to languish. The lingo is what we speak with a rhythmic tongue. And we've lost that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm going to cover it at some point. A little bit of a spoiler. But I will do a stream on languages at some point. Just the way that when people, when they say, oh, where's your language? If you're from the Americas, where's your tongue at? Why don't you speak it? I'm gonna throw all of that to the wayside very easily. But again, that'll be for another stream. But what I will say on that is it's a weak standpoint, because boy, if I learn Swedish, am I Swedish now? Do you know what I'm saying? And it's stupid. It's really perplexing when people. I don't know if people are really listening to what they're saying when they're saying it. It doesn't feel like it, because it's just, come on, man. Are you gonna say because someone doesn't speak a language that they can't? When is language synonymous with a landmass? If that's the case, then me, you, Blue, we're all English now. I mean,
What's that? What you trying to imply? Say, what you trying to say there, old boy?
or imagine
What's going on now?
That's the epitome of what people would like to say is pseudo. Because imagine, I'm born here in England, so now I'm English because I speak English. If we go off their paradigm, let's say I get bored of life here and I choose to live in Azerbaijan, and I start speaking their tongue. So what? So now I'm from Azerbaijan because I speak their language too. But now I also speak English. So now I'm, I'm two people. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's why. Sorry.
No, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, well, that's why everything's ish.
Right.
Because it's like they are two people. Because you had Anglo and you had the Saxons. They were warring, but came together when they came up to more Britain. And then you had Anglo-Saxon. So, you got Anglia. You still got an area called Anglia. Yet we live in England.
Yeah.
So you've got Old England and New England. So in Jamaica, in my native tongue, like my real name in English is Damien. Yeah, but in my native tongue, my mum's native tongue is Dianam. You get me? Totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had to lower our tongue and not make it touch our palate anymore to talk this weird language called English, when we were probably better off speaking Anglo, because that was its first.
Yeah.
So like I say, if my name's Damien in English, is Dianam the original? It must be. Yeah. If that's what my my mum called me. You get me? Like, yeah, it's mad still, but it just makes you think, like, how come I ain't got like a, I can't even, do you know what's mad as well? I can't even think of like an African name off the top of my head. You know what I mean? Them things just don't come, they don't come like that fast to me.
It's a good point, but yeah.
Umbatu umbala gondum.
Umbalo. Umbalo, my brother.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm not gonna lie, check this as well, what's a bit mad as well. You know, some of the African names,
Yeah.
they're like some of the names that we used to have.
Oh, I'm glad you was getting to that, because I'm gonna pull that up right now, but do go on.
Because I was just thinking of a name like Ungolo, where it's got the N, then it's got the apostrophe, and then it's got the other piece of the name. And I think to myself, when I look at some of the like this old South American names and things, it's like, and some of the names that are on my documents, I think that's like my my great uncle's name.
Yeah.
That's mad. And it's just funny, man. It's just funny, and it's like I really do see it disrespectful that certain people are like, they know this knowledge, they know what we're talking about is real, but they don't want it. They just don't want it out. You know, and I think to myself,
oh, but you made a great point.
House of Connaught.
Yeah, man. The guys are crazy, but yeah, you made a good point about the names. But I'm going to now, I'm going to screen share again, and then I'm going to go back to this gem right here. So if you guys remember, I've been to this book before, Civilization and the Ancient Egyptians by Katanga A. Bongo. This is such a good book. I might need to buy the hard copy because there's so much stuff in here. So this is the section about names. So I want everyone to just follow this like really closely. So, one of the most overlooked pieces of evidence in the study of human civilizations is the similarity of names between indigenous South American tribes and indigenous African tribes. African historians have consistently not been aware of a lot of indigenous African names that exist in South America. Western anthropologists are either unaware of this similarity or are deliberately ignoring it. When the South Americans came to build Khufu's pyramid, the pyramid builders had names like Zuma, Montezuma, Asibi, Tia, Agana, Dekura, Avogadro, and Redbird. The Africans quickly imitated these names. Today, these South American names can be found in several African tribes, and for some African tribes, they are the most common names. As the interaction between the Africans and the South Americans continued, more South American names became African names. Besides, because of intermarriage, most of the South Americans never returned to their land, and the names that they had quickly became African names. As time went by, names like Adu, Badu, Amoa, Amina, Kobena, Kamina, Asamoah, Aqua, Amor, Amani, Askunka, Ata, Apia, Moshi, Owusu, Ewusi, Kwajo, Kwezi, Kuntu, Asante, Bonsi, Ohana, Gana, Kuma, Odum, Zampana, Shaka, Wari, Wasai, Tumi, Pana, Kapana, Mbe, Yaba, Yaya, Mama, Bongo, Dongo, Congo, Mala, Katanga, and Tamale all became African names, although they were originally South American Indian names.
Wow. Oh, you know what? Just a quick interruption. You know the name at the top. Redbird. Shout out to brother Ron Redbird. That's got your name written all over it, bruv.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Big
But
up
yeah,
on itself.
So what then? So do you think, yo, Copper, so what do you think that the dates, when do you think we went over there then and helped them with this?
This would have been, I think this author says this was, you know, in the early ancient times. Because basically in this book, he also says that the South American Indians basically brought the knowledge of pyramid building.
facts.
So they came.
What if, right? What if, because in the Americas they use different material. It's different rock. It's different rock that they use. So I'm wondering if they could only use a certain rock in the Americas. I mean, in Africa to make them pyramids. Why that shape as well? Why did they go from doing the amazing monuments in the Americas and all the mounds to just go into over there and doing them? Like,
I from a guessing point, would have to say adaptability to environment, because like you said, it would have been different rock that they were using. So I'm guessing, you know, the blueprint was still there. You know, this is how the pyramid stands, but you know, the rock isn't of the same quality as what they had back on home soil. So this probably, you know, altered the shaping, for example.
I don't think they're as old as what they say.
Oh, definitely not. No.
They're probably around 1,000 years old.
Right. So
Nowhere near the age of the pyramids and megalithic monuments in the Americas. Certainly not.
right.
And I'm not gonna lie, we wouldn't have lived around that area where there's nothing. We come from lush vegetation. We come from a water well. We come from what you could call in them days luxury.
Right. But to be honest with you, Blue, he in the book he only really says that some one tribe, one or two tribes made the trip over to Africa. Like for example, there was a lot of there's a section that talks about a war. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna find it right now because I'm in the book now. But he does outline the reasoning behind how some of these Indians ended up there.
You know, the evidence is just staggering, coming out left, right, and center every blood clot day. It cannot be refuted. It will not be refuted.
But you know what But you know what always still makes me think that, like, are they really ours? Like, did we really have use for them? Because nobody, I hate this word because I don't believe in gravity, but no one in Africa gravitates to them other than white people who come from out of Europe and black Pan-Africans and Americans. They're the ones who only seem to like Europe. And man like Alistair Crowley. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I went to Ghana and Malawi, they don't even care about the pyramids.
No.
They don't even call them pyramids neither. I can't even pronounce what they say, but in some languages they haven't even got a word for them. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
And them pyramids in Africa was a big attraction only when them white people went there, like when Champollion went there and people. You know what I mean? Even like, and that just makes me think that like, man like Alexandra was probably around 1,000 years ago. And not when they say, doing what they did, because how did they lose power? And then have to regain it again to come over to the Americas. It just don't make sense. They don't make sense, but I'm starting to make sense of it now. And then all it does is lead you back to knowing that our people are our people. Done it there. Obviously, there was people, Africans coming over, but I know there was a lot of white Africans coming over as well. There was a lot of white people coming over when Europe was just getting bombed and everything anyway, even in the world wars.
Yep.
And do you know how many dark-skinned people stayed over in like places like Cambodia and Vietnam and
Of
Japan,
course.
and then places there as well? North. And I don't believe we're gonna go to a place where we've never been before and inhabit. I believe we've been everywhere already. We left the Americas and took what we had, and we had everything.
Oh, that's first. Oh, I can't even find this part of the book I wanted, but basically, you're saying that there was a war in South America between two warring tribes. The Wari tribe was one of them, and some of the remnants of the people that managed to get out of that war alive fled to Africa for shelter, and yeah, so it wasn't a great exodus or nothing like that. It was like one or two tribes that made the trip over there. But he was saying even that, those one or two tribes that fled for safety and the ones that ended up traveling there out of curiosity via seafaring, it was still enough to influence the culture right down to they brought, they introduced them to agriculture because they didn't have any until the Indians arrived. They introduced them to seafaring because they didn't know that until they arrived. They introduced them to cayenne pepper and how it was a good cleanser of the blood, and introduced them to ginger and tomatoes, peanuts, plantain, yam. They basically brought all of this with them into Africa. Because none of these things were, originally there.
Yeah, so that Walter Raleigh, he kind of like so-called discovered so much, because I think he's the one who actually named Carabana on the map.
Okay.
Because it wasn't on the map before he went there. A lot of things wasn't on there. Like, I know that he went to let me just see if I can find something.
All right.
Raleigh and his men can take the ports and villages within the Bay of Yoruba in the kingdom or the rivers of Darien and Carabana. The cities and the towns of Saint Juan de Rodas, they will have, oh God, why is it gone off? Yeah, they will have gold enough to pay the king's part and are not easily invaded by way of the ocean. In reference to, this is like when they was actually going, when Sir Raleigh was basically going into the places the Spanish were and running riot, basically, getting the king on his side, to get away with the to help kill the Spanish and get the Spanish out. And this is how now they insert their people into us, into our system. They give us the people that we need, that they want us to look up to. They've been doing it from time.
Yeah, and that's another thing I tell people. It's weird because these people that you love so much, your people wasn't loving them 100 years ago, and some of these people that you love, people that you claim to descend from, don't love those people back home. So oh, what's good, Rhonda? What's good? So I just find that interesting. Like Haile Selassie, for example, is like, yeah, you guys are the only ones over the pond that respect this man because back home he's not worshipped as a god in Ethiopia. I can tell you that for free right now.
Of course not. He's a sellout in Ethiopia. That's why them Rothschilds have got a blood clot bank there, because I didn't give it to his son. And it makes me laugh when people are like, oh, he never bowed to the Queen. Of course not, because he's a Freemason. He's not going to bow to the Queen.
Yeah.
They're all the same. They're one of the same. He played ball.
Exactly. Yo, Gambler, let's have a little music break and then we're going to carry right back on.
Easy now. As we take a little musical interlude, sounds of the Phyllis Dillon. Oh, 1 second. Tune entitled "Don't Stay Away." Listen.
If you knew how much I love you, how much I need you, you wouldn't stay away. If you knew you were my one desire, you set my soul on fire, you wouldn't stay away. Now, darling, I know you have got another girl.
One more time from the TOP. Listen.
If you knew how much I love you, how much I need you, you wouldn't stay away. If you knew you were my one desire, you set my soul on fire, you wouldn't stay away. Now, darling, I know you have got another girl. She treats you nice, I know. She's even more beautiful than I. But if you knew how my heart burned for you and how I long for you, you wouldn't stay away. Now, darling, I know you have got another girl. She treats you nice, I know. She's even more beautiful than I. But if you knew how my heart burned for you and how I long for you, you wouldn't stay away. You wouldn't stay away.
Once again, sounds of the Phyllis Dillon, tune entitled "Don't Stay Away." Mr. Hot Stepper, back to you.
All right. Thank you for the music, Gambler. Who seems to have gone? What happened? Hopefully it comes back on. But in the meantime, yeah, what he touched on about, us being taught, to go against, uncommon sense, because sense has now become uncommon, in my opinion. This is a real thing, and again, I'm going to show you that this is a real thing. So again, we're going to jump into the screen share. Let's give me 2 seconds. All right. So this is an article by the BBC over here. So this is to do with the UK, but it applies where you're at as well. Same thing. So what they're saying here, this was back in 30th of November 2012. They're saying that teaching evolution key to free school funding deal. So, failing to teach.
I wonder.
Yep. So they're saying failing to teach.
I wonder why.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, it seemed like we had a delay. Oh, okay. So they're going to say that failing to teach evolution by natural selection in science lessons could lead to new free schools losing their funding under government changes. So the new rules state that for 2013, all free schools in England must teach evolution as a comprehensive and coherent scientific theory. Keyword being theory. The move follows scientists' concerns that free schools run by creationists might avoid teaching evolution. Sir Paul Nurse, president of the Royal Society, said he was delighted. Sir Paul told BBC News the previous rules on free schools and the teaching of evolution versus creationism had been not tight enough. So he said that although the previous rules had confined creationism to religious education lessons, the Royal Society identified a potential issue that schools could have avoided teaching evolution by natural selection in science lessons, or dealt with it in such a perfunctory way that the main experience for students was the creationist myth. So far, 79 free schools have opened in England, with 118 more due to open in 2013 and beyond. They are funded directly by central government, but unlike other state-funded schools, are run by groups of parents, teachers, charities, and religious groups, and do not have to abide by the national curriculum. Seems like you have your little way out on how you need to go and separate yourselves from these people. But, the new rules mean if a free school is found to be acting in breach of its funding agreement, for example, teaching creationism as a scientific fact or not teaching evolution, the Department for Education will take swift action, which could result in the termination of that funding agreement. In a letter to the Royal Society, the school's minister, Lord Hill, said, "While we have always been clear that we expect to see evolution included in schools' science curricula, this new clause will provide more explicit reassurance that free schools will have to meet their expectation." So Paul Nurse said, "The new clause in the funding agreement should ensure that all pupils at free schools have the opportunity to learn about evolution as an extensively evidenced theory and one of the most fundamentally important tenets of modern biology. The development of the theory of evolution is an excellent example of how science works, and there is a clear consensus within the scientific community regarding both its validity and importance." Spokesman for the Department for Education said that the new clause would apply to the Grindon Hall Christian School in Sunderland and 2 others that this year became the focus of concerns about the teaching of creationism in free schools. So Grindon Hall, which was independent, reopened as a free school in September. The 2 others approved by ministers are not due to open until 2013. In July, the principal of Grindon Hall said that creationism would never be taught in science lessons. Rachel Wolf, director of the New Schools Network, which provides advice and support for groups who want to set up free schools, welcomed the funding agreement changes, but said that the existing rules meant free schools already had to teach evolution in science lessons. To my knowledge, free schools have always had to teach evolution in science, but it is great that the government has reaffirmed its commitment to this, she said. Andrew Copson, Chief Executive of the British Humanist Association, organisers of a Teach Evolution, Not Creationism campaign, said, "A requirement to teach evolution in free schools is an excellent additional safeguard against state-funded creationist schools and must be welcomed. However, we continue to be concerned about the free schools recently approved, which are supportive of teaching creationism as science, and which we must worry will continue to find ways to circumvent a ban in practice." Dr. Berry Billingsley, who leads a Reading University project on how secondary schools handle questions that bridge science and religion, cautioned against an oversimplified debate. Evolution is a fantastic theory and explains so much about how humans come to be here. It is backed up by evidence and supported by the vast majority of scientists in the biological sciences. Many of those scientists also believe that the universe is here because of God. The importance of studying evolution is indeed the first thing to be said, but children also need opportunities somewhere in the timetable to explore the big questions which our research shows they want to consider, and it's often the science lesson that stirs up those questions. So Paul Bates of the European Educators Christian Association agreed schools should teach a broad and balanced curriculum. Science and religion need each other in this debate. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest scientists of all time, said science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. So my thing with that whole thing is, of all the very important things out there in the world, why would they be stressing on evolution as being, a crucial element of, the learning process in order to secure funding?
Because they just want to dumb down the next set of younglings.
Yep.
Straight and simple, with their Darwinism monkey crap. Fuck out of here. Anyway.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's so true.
My bad with that step. PG. But yeah, I said my bad, Mr. Hotstep. I tried to keep it PG and let that one slip. So forgive.
It's all right, man. It's all right. But yeah, just to show people that this isn't made up. This isn't a thing of, oh well, they're just teaching it because these are the facts. And no, they're going out of their way. They're saying, look, if you don't keep teaching these people this foolfulness about how Rafiki and Curious George was their ancestors, then we're cutting that bag.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. They're just trying to put a stranglehold on the education. I mean, the education system.
Right. So yeah, we got to be doing better. We got to be doing better because come the end of 2018, nobody original to the Americas should still be believing that once upon a time they was an orangutan at some point.
Get out of here with that crap.
Or that other weird stuff that we learned, like, oh well, basically, how do we get Caucasians? Well, an African went into Europe one day and it was cold and they stayed there, and then their hair became stringy and they just became pale. Like, no one should be believing this stuff anymore, man. That's 90s stuff.
Exactly. I'm not buying that crap, man. It's like Wu-Tang said in the tune I played Sunday, that they got me believing that man came from monkeys, that we were swinging in trees. I'm hardly gonna believe that unless I'm dumb, deaf, and blind. And that's a direct quote coming from Papa Wu-Tang. Straight.
Yeah.
Nah, man. We ain't buying in the. Listen, said it before and we'll say it again, and we shall continue to say it. Hashtag council business. Hashtag no monkey business. Simi.
Yeah, man. You already know I'm gonna get that with a sweater. Oh, with that that Darwin RBG pick I made. Oh,
brothers and sisters, wait till you see that T-shirt that Mr. Hotstep just said. I'm sure that's going to be his avatar at some point soon down the line. But just watch the space. Just watch the space. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm legit gonna do it, man. Who knows? I might start selling them as well, man. Imagine. I can't believe I start selling them.
Hey, I want my copy. Just make sure you sign it. You get me? Me good. Yeah, man. I want mine signed, boss.
That's what I'm saying. Like this whole thing is crazy. Like if you're gonna listen to people still who tell you that, you know, you come from a Homo sapiens sapien and these other weird words, then how is that any different to when people are saying you were 3/5 of a human being? What's the difference? What's good, Tommy? Just seeing you there.
Shout out to Tommy Williams in the chat. Shout out to Jazzy Sir Fox in the chat. High vibes. Ain't seen you for a little while, sis. Big ups. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, that's true though. That's true, Seeker. Yeah, they have to get the children when they're young because the children are smarter than adults, man. Because you best believe I talk to children. I talk to children about this type of stuff. Oh, is Jazzy in here? Oh, she is as well. What's good? I ain't seen you in a minute. What's going on? But yeah, children are smart. They're too smart, man. They're too smart, smarter than adults. When I speak to children about this stuff, they just understand immediately what I'm saying. Immediately what I'm saying, because I work in the school, so yeah. I've spoken to children and they've asked me where I'm from, and I've told them. And then one of them thought I was from her side of the world. She thought I was from Nigeria. Bearing in mind, you know, she's only like 7, 8 years old, so it's an easy mistake to make. But once I just, you know, put it to her in a simple way, she understood what I was saying. I was like, okay, well, no, I don't come from there. And she's like, oh, I thought you did. So I just said to her, okay, so at home, is there anyone in your family who looks like me? So she thought about it and she said, oh, no, sir, there isn't. So I said, well, there you go then, because I'm just not from there. That's all. Like, you're from there, I'm from where I'm from. We don't all come from the same place. This is why, you know, we have to look different from each other too. That's what shows us that we come from different places. And children understand this. Children who only learned to stay their ABC a few years ago understand that. So when I see grown adults struggling with this stuff, I can't feel any sympathy for you.
None.
Children make me look bad out here. But go on, fam.
No, I'm just saying, you know, it's like you said, the children are very smart, high IQ, you know, etc., etc. But why is it that fully grown adults just can't comprehend, or are they agents? Yeah, hint, hint, hint. My screen.
I imagine, yeah, we already know that some are very much agents, but the rest of them are. I think the problem is they're not embracing their inner child enough. Like, they act childish, but they don't embrace their inner child. If that makes sense. Like they will embrace all the childish elements of being a child, like the temper tantrums, the I know best, you know, me, and whatever. But they won't embrace the actual inner child. And the child is an open palette that's always willing to learn something. But
straight like that.
Yeah, I can't say enough of us are doing that. Because if enough of us were doing that, you know, things would clearly look a lot more different than they are now. You know?
Oh, it'd be a whole heap different.
Yeah. So, actually, I'm just reading the comment section at the moment. Yeah.
I know the comment section. Hey, brothers and sisters, you're just smashing it today. Comment section's on fire. In fact, you know what? Just for that. Fire! Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah, LJ. Okay, so LJ3 said, yeah, they're trying to mix that monkey in our business and classify us as 3/5 of a human. That's what I'm saying to people. I'm like, how are you not seeing that? They're just literally taking phrases that they used to say to you before, and now they just turn it back around and putting it in a what they call scientific element. You know, it's the same thing as oh well, you know, all blacks look the same to us, and you didn't like that. Then they rebranded it and said, okay, well, all blacks come from Africa. It's not different to what they were saying to you before. They just rebranded it to you and added science on the end of it. I mean, before when they were saying that other stuff, like, you know, all blacks look the same, they were basing that on science, you know, racial scientific theory. Then they told you, oh, well, all blacks come from Africa. That's the same racial scientific theory they're using. All they've done is rebrand the words. So you got upset at the fact that all blacks look the same, but now you're happy that all blacks come from Africa, when all they did really was just say the same thing to you and spin it back to you.
Straight like that. Straight like that.
Pretty Bead says, this is why Pan-Africanists need to stop stroking their ego with the "we were here first, Africa is the world's home" BS. Evolution implies that they are least evolved, right? Yeah, oh man.
Well said. Brother Rainstorm, I'm from Krypton.
Oh man.
I tell you, the chat's on fire today.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna lie. This is a nice little live stream clip that I've got coming up, man. The pure warriors.
Considering this is not one. Exactly. Just Aborigine warriors, left, right, center. Oh, shout out to brother Levar, Yamakan Kelly. Big up yourself, brother.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, I did see him. What's good, fam? We've got a good turnout today. This is good. And also for Hebrew Lawyer, the book that you want to go and look for is a book called Civilization and the Ancient Egyptians by Katanga A. Bongo. So again, it's a book called Civilization and the Ancient Egyptians, and this is a book by somebody called Katanga A. Bongo. In fact, I'll put it in the chat for you. The name. The author. Just typing it up now. But yeah, that is a very good book. I'd recommend everybody to get a copy of that. Oh, what's good, Cliff? Cliff too. This might be the first time I've seen you on one of my streams, but anyhow, it's all good though. What's good? But yeah, Gambler, you still there? Oh, wow. Oh, there you. Wow. Okay, you back, Gambler. Gambler.
Yeah, can I be heard?
Yeah, loud and clear.
You know what? That was me. I thought something happened to you, Mr. Hot Step. It's not you. They're fucking with me once again. Oh, Jugal. Was it because I smashed it on the airwaves on Sunday? Just saying. Oh, hurt feelings. Oh, who cares? Anyway,
yo, Copper Fox, you've been silent for a minute. That's good. Hopefully she's still around.
There, man, still a bona fire on the KFB, so now I learn.
Oh, man. Yo, Gavin, do you remember being taught? What do you remember being? Was you ever taught evolution in school? Can you remember that far back?
Yes.
Were they feeding you the whole thing of, you know, Darwin and blah blah blah?
Yeah, because you know what, I remember in the one particular part of the class, they had that little, you know, that fucking that Darwin thing, that picture where it goes from, you know, Curious George to, you know, Bob with his briefcase walking down. But yeah, I remember that picture there. Yeah. I mean, I was born 1979, so I'm an 80s baby, so I escaped it, so to speak.
Yeah.
For how long has this Darwin crap been running? So yeah, there you go.
tried to message Blue on WhatsApp, but it's only on the one tick. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, if you look in there, look in the Google flap outs, you'll see.
Oh, is he on there?
Well, in the group that we're in right now, he left a message. I don't know if you clocked it or not.
I see him when you added him to the chat.
Yeah, that was to Arawak chat. I'm talking about the other one, the one that we're in for this.
Oh, all right, what's that? Oh, he needs to fly out for. Okay, no worries, no worries.
Shout out to Bro 47 in the chat. Big up yourself, brother. We're trying to keep it lit. OC, you was born in 79 as well. Yeah, man. Big ups. That's what's up.
Okay, there's a few 70s people here. Okay. Let's just be with my 90s self.
Hey, listen, don't just because you're born in the 90s. That doesn't. Hey, my sister was born 98. You know, hot step.
Oh,
don't worry about it. Yeah, there's 18 years between me and my sister.
Oh wow, I always thought your sister was older than me.
Nah. She's born 98.
Oh wow, so she's a year younger than my sister.
Yeah.
Wow.
And look at that, my sister's had a youth before me.
It's weird how this life thing works out, isn't it, bro?
Well, you know what, Hot Step? I've said it to the council before, and I'm going to say it to the public listening. Some of us, I'm not saying this is exact applicable for me right now, yeah, but some of us who are here are not meant to have children. We have a specific task or specific tasks.
Yeah.
You get now, whether Man Gambler has a you or not, right? I don't know how that's going to, and I use the word loosely, pan out.
Oh.
In the day of hot, yeah. 3 days ago, I just had my 40th Earth strong. So, you know, take that figure at the age I'm at right now, you know, and I ain't had the youths. So, anyway, I ain't business anyway.
Well, man, you never know, man. You just never know these days, man.
You get me? But
yeah,
I know one
are capable of a lot of things. So age has never really beaten us for getting the job done, so to speak.
That is very true. That is very true. You know. But like I said before, my empress is across the water. I don't know which part across the water, but she did there. That means I have to get my ass across the pond. But anyway, that's my own endeavor, and that's just going beside the point. Mr. Hot Step, back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree as well, man. I've been ready to move, man. I'm not even gonna lie, I've been ready, man. I've been so ready. But yeah, it'll be nice, man, if we can reach a situation where all the children of the Americas who have been, you know, spread out for different reasons, but with the core reason being, you know, the hijack of the land and the circumstances that come with it, you know, we'll have the opportunity to link up again like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's on the way to there. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do, but I've seen a lot of positive things that have happened over the year. And right now, there's a lot of positive things, but a lot of people just making some really, really good panels where they're just getting this person, that person, just together, just talking, and just, you know, everything's good.
Exactly, and I'm just glad to see this information coming out left, right, and center. It is beyond undeniable. It cannot be what's the word? Rebutted, rebuked, whatever the hell the word is. It's just undeniable. And for those who are not twigging on, you're living in denial, or you're a goddamn agent or agent provocateur.
Yeah,
it's just that simple for me. in my visual acuity, it's just that simple for me. Straight like that. Straight like that.
Yeah.
You know? So yes, Mr. Hot Stepper, because Brother Blue has had to do a unexpected departure from us. I don't know how you hear this show right now, because this is the first of obviously more to come, because obviously Brother Blue has got more information for let off, and that's just only a little piece. We ain't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, this is true. That's true. That is very true. I'll tell you what, we'll play them another track, and then I might drop in one or two things that I've just found out, just extra information about other live streams I did in the past. Then we'll see if he's back by that point or not.
Okay. As we take a little musical interlude, sound of Desmond Decker, tune entitled Shantytown. Listen.
At Ocean 11, I know rude boys are go real, cause them out of jail. Rude boys cannot deal, cause them must get bail. Oh, 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 oh. Them a loot, them a shoot, them a wheel. I shanty town. Them a loot, them a shoot, them a wheel. I shanty town. Root by the population. I shanty town. Root by a bomb of the town. I shanty town. Shoot them away, I shanty town. Root by the population, shanty town. Root by a bomb of the town, shanty town. But it's the taller, shanty town. Soldier get longer, shanty town. Root by a weep and a wear, shanty town.
Once again, sounds of the Desmond Decker, tune entitled Shantytown. Mr. Hot Stepper, back to you.
All right. Yeah, before actually, when we were talking about, you know, another thing that we suffer from is that we idolize a lot of people that the indigenous people of the Eastern Hemisphere do not idolize in return and actually hold a lot of resentment for. Haile Selassie is a very good example of this. If you guys remember the live stream I did about slavery, and I showed you that Haile Selassie owned slaves in Ethiopia, he was actively involved in that. So he's not a hero in so-called Ethiopia today. He's not, you know, revered as a hero. He's not given a hero's mention. The people there don't see him as that. So with that being said, I can talk about it, but then again, I can just show you. So let me show you. All right. So this is a website called Face to Face Africa. And again, I want you to see the name of who wrote this. Look, this is an indigenous person from that part of the world. So again, from the horse's mouth. Okay. So the infamous Haile Selassie, who betrayed Ethiopia by siding with the Italians in 1935.
Oh my God, Mr. Hotstep, you can't say that. Go ahead, bring the ammunition, bring that fire, bring that heat. Those who can't stand the heat, well, just come out to the kitchen, yeah?
Yeah,
you get me?
We're doing corn fritters and jerk chicken, all of that today.
Woo! Although I'm a vegetarian now, but the corn fritters just sound very good.
Right. When you hear the name Haile Selassie, the first person that comes to mind is the last Ethiopian emperor, who was revered for being a defining figure in history and the inspiration of the Rastafari movement. Just make this a bit bigger. But it is also the name Haile Selassie Gugsa, an army commander and a member of the royal family. Born in 1907, Gugsa was the son of Gugsa Araya Selassie, a prince and a great-grandson of Emperor Johann the... Help me out, this gambler.
What's that?
No, the number.
Oh, that's 6.
All right. Do you know what? This is really bad because this is how you can tell I was tired. Because best believe on Friday.
No. That's hold on, what the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, that's 4. That's 4, not 6.
Right.
If the
4,
one,
right?
Yeah, according to from what I'm saying with so-called Roman numerals, if the 1 is before or to the left of the V, that means minus, because V is 5, so that's 5 minus 1. If it's to the right-hand side of the V, that would be V 5 plus 1 equals 6. So that will be Emperor Johannes the 4th. Yeah. If anyone in the audience knows any better, please correct me if I'm incorrect. Mr. Hotstep, back to you.
All right. So we'll go with Emperor Johannes the 4th, as well as the Shum, governor of Eastern Tigray region. So when Araya died, Gugsa took over as governor, but with the title the Jazmak, I hope that was correct, which was meant for non-royal commanders of the army. He later married the daughter of Emperor Selassie, Zenobewak Haile Selassie. The princess died aged 16, just a year after her marriage, amid rumors that she was treated horribly by her husband. This created tension between Gugsa and Emperor Selassie, which was exacerbated by the latter's demand that his daughter be brought back to Addis Ababa instead of being buried in the capital of the Tigray region. So Gugsa was unhappy with the emperor because he was not granted his rightful title as the descendant of Emperor Johann IV. If he had had his way, his title would have had Ras and Lul, just like his father before him, and the governor of Western Tigray and his rival Siyum Mengesha, whose daughter was married to the crown prince. However, as the commander of the army, Gugsa was the one in charge when the Italian army invaded Mekelle on October 3rd, 1935, to mark the start of the Italo-Abyssinian War. The Emperor Selassie, the great strategist, had asked Gugsa and Mengesha to withdraw miles from the invasion so as to show the League of Nations that Italians were the aggressors. Haile Selassie Gugsa did not heed the call. He actually went and met the Italians and submitted to their rule, making him a traitor to the Ethiopian Empire.
Oh dear. Go ahead, Mr. Hotstep.
Soon after, the Italians, led by General Emilio Di Bono, released photos of Gugsa working together with the Italians and attending war councils.
Yeah, I can't understand. I talk about my original Rasta man. You talk about me as a Haile Selassie, bro. We are talk about man. You talk some foolishness, the boy. I'm sorry, Pastafarians. I'm not talking to the real Rastafarians. I'm talking to the Pastafarians. Your ass is getting blown out the water with this. So just pipe down, and as Tata Inca would say, just wall your kana. Mr. Hot Step, back to you.
Right. So, his move prompted retaliation from Tigrian patriots who burnt down his home. A few days later, Mikel fell and was occupied by the Italians for 5 years. For his loyalty to them, Gugsa was granted the title Ras by the Italians.
Oh, Mr. Hot Stepper.
Could you possibly rewind and come again?
Whew. For his loyalty to them, Gugsa was granted the title Ras by the Italians.
From the Italians, you say? Wow.
Who also recognized him as a senior Tigrian prince over his rival Mengesha. He even received an Italian pension.
Wow.
Years later, when the British were considering the liberation of the Italian East Africa, there were plans to separate Tigray from Ethiopia and join it to Eritrea. The plans also involved making it the Great Tigray region under Ras Gugsa or Ras Mengesha. When Mengesha showed resistance to breaking apart the Ethiopian Empire, the British turned to Gugsa, only to find out that he was in correspondence with the Italians. They threw him into custody in Asmara and later took him to Seychelles for safekeeping, after they did not receive a promise from Emperor Selassie that Gugsa would not be killed if he is extradited to Ethiopia. He was only extradited in 1946 after numerous requests by Emperor Selassie. Gugsa was tried in 1947 and was sentenced to death. He pleaded with Emperor Selassie and his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment, which he served at Glory and later Ambo. Not only was he stripped of his title Ras, but also his province was integrated into Western Tigray under Mengesha. His whole family fell from grace and was not able to enjoy favors from Mengesha or Emperor Selassie.
Oh.
Derg toppled the Ethiopian monarchy in 1974. They released Gugsa but still considered him a traitor. They kept him under house arrest until his death in 1985.
Wow. Look at that. Well. You know, the truth is coming to the light. And yeah, Pastafarians, go wall your kana. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, boy. This is why I just tell people all the time, man. Look, we have to check things now. We have to double check things. We spoke about this earlier, and we said that, you know, it's crazy how when all of these things came out, our people weren't double checking. They weren't going back to say, well, hang on a second. It's new to me. Let me go back and see if this correlates to what I heard from my people. So now going forward, this is just it now. And like I said, when it comes to talking about that side of the world, I prefer to use the people that are indigenous to there as my sources, because they know the land best. They know the people there best, because they are of that hemisphere. You know, that hemisphere birthed them and created them. So why should I be getting information about them from another third party?
Exactly. You know, even back at them times, they're Hot Step, you know, we could still go and cross-reference by going to the library. I mean, I remember doing shit like that as well, going to the library, you know, pulling out books. I would dare say some of the younger audience, not yourself, but some of the younger audience listening on the playback now, I'll be like, what the hell's that? We just go on an iPod or an iPad or whatever. Yeah, you see, you lot have got the luxury and the convenience of just having things at the fingertips. You get me? Coming up through the 80s and the 90s now, man had to go to the library, cross-reference, you know, newspaper clippings and blah 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 blah. But anyway, I digress.
Copper Fox said the Pastafarians must move to Italy and China. Plenty past moved. That's a good thing to start asking them now when they talk about, you know, Emperor Selassie Rastafari. Tell them, okay, so when are you moving to Italy? Because they're the ones that called him Ras.
Exactly.
It's crazy, man. Oh man, imagine jerk bolognese, fam.
Hold on, Mr. Hotstep, you took it there. You said jerk bolognese. Oh, I swear you're hurting it. Oh, killed. Oh, that's a killer. That's a killer. You know what? It should have been blatantly obvious as well to probably not all of the Yamakan population, but the time when he come over, I'm talking about Selassie, when he come over to Yamaka, because when he come over, as according to what I found out, he left more flipping questions unanswered and left more questions, you know, when he arrived, when he left. Enough people, from what I gathered, a general consensus in Yamaka was people are like, where the blood clot are going, man? Man, not answered this, and they were just like scratching their head, confused. And when was that? When was that? Was that the 60s or the 70s when he come over?
Yeah, around those times, yeah.
Woof. You know, I think that should have sent alarm bells ring. Well, obviously it did for a certain amount of people over there, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah, the crazy thing is he went over there and yeah, he didn't even understand, you know, he didn't understand why they were, you know, they were sparking up the herb and why they had locks and why they was eating ital. Like all of that was foreign to him. And look, if you really think you come from there, then you know, do the Pastafarian test today. Take yourself over there and ask those men over there what do they know about. Ask them what tunes by the heptones they listen to at home. Ask them what jerk chicken they're cooking at home. Ask them what carnival are they celebrating over there. And when they look at you and give you that same silly look that they all give you when you start mentioning all these things to them, you know, it's on you.
Exactly.
I'm just saying because I've had enough interactions with people who are genuinely indigenous to over there to know that I am literally a mystery to them. They don't know anything about the people of the Americas until you open up your mouth and start talking to them in a healthy dialogue. Apart from that, I'm telling you, you're like an anomaly.
Straight like that.
They don't ever ask you, oh, so how much of your African heritage have you managed to retain, you know, given the situation? They literally ask you questions like you're a whole different species of person, because guess what? That's what you are.
Facts. Straight like that.
They don't
straight like.
Bro, tell me I'm lying. Do they ever say to you, oh yeah, so you're from the West Indies, so did you hang on to one or two African words? They don't ask you them questions. They literally treat you the same way they would talk to somebody from China. Who are you and what's your story?
Exactly. Straight like that.
And yeah, it's just, you know, we just have to do better, man. We just have to do so much better. Like we know that our parents grew up in that generation where, you know, they would get licks in it with the belt, like if their parents felt they were out of hand or did something wrong. And they'll tell you them stories like how they used to hide under tables or they used to run out, they used to blurt out the front door and stuff like that, not to get them licks. But imagine the amount of licks they got as a child growing up. and our parents never, you know, forgot their name or their identity. But like, oh, you know what? Like, I got so many licks. Like, I woke up one day and thought my name was Fred or Bianca.
Yeah.
Or I woke up thinking I was from Russia. Like, no one's ever said that, bro. So my thing is, how would they beating the Africanness out of slaves?
You know, that's an excellent point you make there, Mr. Hotstep, because I can only imagine the amount of licks that our parents and then their parents got as well. You know? And then, you know, hence the, I won't say brainwashing, the brain staining. You get me?
Oh, what did Hebrew lawyer say? West Indies don't stop at the islands to me. There is more land west of there. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I believe it's a lot huger than what they say it is. I believe there's more terrain within Central America than what they say there is.
I would concur on that. Looking at certain things, yeah, it's off. The geography's off. According to the white powers that be, of course. That being Jugal. Anyway. Because they love.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, man, all I can say is, look, man, we have to stop, you know. We need to stay away from, you know, jerk spaghetti rhetoric. It's not healthy, man. It's not healthy.
The jerk spaghetti. That could be on a t-shirt. The jerk spaghetti rhetoric. Oh, killed.
But boy, it looks like Blue's probably, you know, probably had to handle something else. So it's all good. It was good to just get him on here just to introduce himself, because I know he's got loads of drops. So we'll try and arrange something and obviously have him on more regularly so he can talk to you guys a bit more. Yeah, I hope everybody was feeling the live stream. I know this one's a little bit different today. Just wanted to switch it up a bit, you know. And,
for real.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be seeing some more of Blue, definitely. And obviously, Chief's away relaxing right now. You know, you'll be back to the Lacona corner soon. So if you haven't already, could everybody in this channel please subscribe to Lacona Empire if you haven't done that already. Gambler, would you be able to drop them the link before we run out?
I shall put the link in momentarily. Just bear with me 1 second.
All right. So Gambler's going to put the link to the Brother Lacona Empire in the stream right now. I want everybody, if you're not subscribed to him already, to subscribe to him. If you're not already subscribed to DJ Gambler 1, then make sure you subscribe to DJ Gambler 1 before the stream is finished.
Y'all don't want to subscribe to your brother Gambler. Oh no, you don't. I'm just. I'm very, very rigs, because I don't pet to flipping speak my mind. But anyway. But please do make sure you do subscribe to Lacona Empire and obviously this channel, Copper Hot Step. Them are the most important channels, for real. Don't worry about your brother Gambler. You get me? And here's the link to Lacona Empire's channel. Please feel free to click, like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, get me? That's how we're rolling.
All right. So there it is. Gambler's just dropped it in for you now. So yes, everyone, please make sure you subscribe to that channel, because we do alternate between here and there. So those times on the Saturday, you'll find me on here. But in between that time, you will usually find us on Lacona Corner, on Lacona Empire channel. So that's why it's best for you guys to be sub to both channels. All right. So you can always make sure you catch us whenever the bell goes off.
And let me give you the perspective on the similarities and differences of these two channels. Now, similarities are it's the same council members in the International Carib Copper Council. However, whereas Mr. Hotstep deals with more facts in a structured class teacher manner way, Lakota Empire deals with common sense and just raw chat. So that's why we don't really use expletives on this channel per se. Now, Lakota Empire, that's different. It's just rags raw, adult to the core. Yeah, get me. But I digress. Mr. Hot Stepper, back to you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been another good stream. I've enjoyed myself. It's been another good one. Thank you to everybody in the panel for always coming through and helping out. Thank you to everyone in the live chat for coming through and helping out. Much respect to all of you, for everybody that's subbed. Thank you very much. We appreciate it a lot. We appreciate everybody coming through to support this information all the way from over this side of the water. So we definitely appreciate that a lot. And the only thing left for me to say is, yeah, just take care of yourselves. Try and learn something new every day, and enjoy the rest of your days.
Oh wow! Tommy's just said it. I'm gonna stop coming in here. This is getting weird. Really? What weirdness happens in this channel?
Hang on, I'm just scrolling up now.
I don't see any weird things happening in this channel. I see a lot of facts getting dropped in this channel. I see a lot of fun being had on this channel with the facts, with the information. Like, damn.
The whole point is everybody is sharing different information of knowledge. So we ain't all always gonna agree.
Oh,
exactly.
So basically this is okay.
But Tommy is trying to say that we are Egyptian and Moors, and people in the channel are saying no, we are Indian. So it's just that.
Oh, I see. All right, Tommy. All right. Let me just say this here.
If he's still here, but go ahead.
Okay, if he's still here, I'm not too sure. But the whole thing with the Egyptian thing, I don't know if I understand where you're coming from. But what I will say is that, yes, they were referring to an Egypt within America, but what I would have to say about that is to do with naming and branding, you know. So it's not that necessarily we were Egyptians, but yes, a lot of names that you find in the East were already accredited to the West. So we just have to keep that in mind, you know. The names and of people and places were being mixed around a lot, and remember, the name isn't always the be all and the end all. It all depends on, you know, the context of the name, I suppose.
Facts.
Because, you know, if they start naming the Americas, you know, I don't know, Poland, we're not just now Polish because they decided that. You know, we are still who we are.
Exactly.
But I mean, I get it. We all have different opinions. That's my interpretation of it. I mean, everyone's free to tell me if they think I'm wrong about what I just said or if they agree or not. That's my understanding of the context. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And you know, as you said, when we was chatting, Mr. Hotstep, you know, the Americas is known as the land of milk and honey. So why hasn't so-called Africa been named the land of milk and honey? But the land is barren, you see. 600 food types from 640 food types, courtesy of the AMER'ICAN. Yeah. To come again on that one. But anyway.
Say, look, you can even break this down to food. You can break this down to food. Life isn't going to begin in a place where later it would need 600 out of 640 of the crops it relies on today for survival and nourishment. That means that life on Earth would have died and disintegrated before it even really got going, because we would have all starved to death and the world would just be a ghost town right now. and the animals would be doing their thing.
Exactly. You know, it just astounds me, like, you know, you look upon, even if you go on to Google Earth, right, and you look at the Americas, it's way more greener than the rest of the world in a general overview of it. What more? I mean, that's just a visual screaming at you. I don't understand how people can't get that shit. Anyway, I digress, Mr. Hotstep. You know the gambler. I'll start going off on one. Yes, Hebrew lawyer. I said Jugal.
Yeah, Hebrew lawyer. These are gamblers' phrases, man. You're gonna be learning a lot of them as time goes on. Trust me. This is just one of many, my friend.
Hey, listen, I don't really take claim or fame to these words. I just simply take the word, right, see who operates and controls it, and put it to it. So you got YouTube, Jugal flap outs, Jugal minus, Bitchtagram, face crook. You know? How about crooked chat? You know, Snapchat. Let's just stop right. I'm digressing. Hey.
Oh wait, what's good at power? What's good?
Down to our power in the building. Big up yourself, brother. For real.
Yeah, man. That power's doing that righteous work, man. Like, he'd be making me laugh at the same time. Oh, but I love it, man. I love it.
Real. You know what? It doesn't make no difference to me. Aborigines are rising, and you know what? Even though we're at the tail end of this year, I've taken a step back to look at the whole bigger picture of things, and I will say this: the information of the aborigines, for lack of better words, so don't crucify me on that one, brothers and sisters, yeah, has come out exponentially. And the momentum has picked up so much speed that all I can see is that the momentum is just going to bust right through December and right the way through into 2019 and beyond. And even goes so far as to say that next year, the Aborigine information going to start coming real heavy with some heat. Yeah, get me?
Yeah. What's good, Kel? Kel's now in here.
Easy now, big ups, brother Kel, flying snake Hyman. Big up yourself.
Yeah.
Snake style. Hi.
Yeah, them days, man.
Stop right there, man. Start going nerd mode. But anyway.
Yo, I play more combat in a minute, man.
Finish him.
But that's what I'm saying. This is crazy. We've reached a point now where it's just like there's work to be done, obviously. But I mean, at the same time, we can chill. We could be playing Mortal Kombat and still putting out this information.
Yeah. For those who are astute enough or advanced enough, yes, we can take it in our stride in that regards.
Like I'm not even gonna lie. I've only known this kind of stuff for like since summer 2017 last year, when I first got introduced to this path, this journey. But the thing I can tell you now for a fact is the reason why we're geared towards the so-called pro-blackism paradigm is because it's anti-freefall, anti-critical thought, and it places an emphasis on how another man qualifies your intellect to be worthy of his approval. And the reason why you're seeing now that the channels that are the complete opposite of anything like this is because over that side of the fence, everybody needs to they need to come out of some kind of institution. They need to have some kind of paper with some kind of scholarly on it. And if you don't have that, then you're not qualified to make an opinion on their information. But over here, no one needs to have come out of an institution. No one needs to have had a grad hat on or so forth. It's just basically am I smart enough to just do for myself and find this information in 1 day, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, and get the answer I'm looking for? Yes, I can. Okay, let me go and do it. Okay, I've done it and I found it. You know, end of story. Doing for self.
You know what, Mr. Hotstep? Now that you just took it there with this, you know, they have to have some kind of accredited paperwork. I'm going to briefly touch on when our sister Phoenix Moon went on Sa Cheddar channel, second part with Jabari the Jerk. Anyway, you see how the sister presented factual information of her lineage with tribes and dates, and then this little jankro comes along with his little piece of A4 paper, right, presenting his flipping so-called lineage, and I don't see no Zulu tribe, no Abrunu tribe, or whatever fucking tribe on that. That was a complete mockery. And I'm not talking about on Sister Phoenix Moon's behalf, neither, by them two. If you watch that video carefully, brothers and sisters, you will see Sa Cheddar and Jabari communicating with each other. Why is it Sa Cheddar's always got his phone in his hand and he's texting? Because they're a tag team. But nonetheless, it didn't really matter anyway, because our sister Phoenix Moon, she stood her ground. And as she says, I'm coming with grandma. And if you can't substantiate to grandma, then you just ass down. And that's exactly what she did. So Phoenix Moon, salute to your sister. Mash up the place. Big ups.
Yeah, she did great, to be honest. She did really good. Like,
Mr.
really,
Hotstep,
really
Mr. Hotstep, you said it yourself, and I agree with you, right? There was numerous times, because brothers and sisters, we watched that video, me, Lazan, and Copper Hotstep, and we ripped that video to pieces. We freeze framed it every so often, watching body language, body movements, you know, all them type of things. We are coming like CSI, you know. I tell you, say when the council come in like investigative reporter, we come in like CSI to blood clot. See me? Breaking down everything, the body language, the movement, the words that were said. Even there was a few times Sa Cheddar start laughing and ting. Yeah, because you know your ass is busted. You're a fraud. And the rest of your house of con artists ilk. Straight like that. Mr. Hotstep, back to you. I think I've chatted on.
You made me go there now. Now I'm gonna have to go in now.
I'll go in. I say, wait. I say, Brother Hotstep, yes, bring the artillery, old boy, and forward the charge. Tally ho.
Right. I'm gonna send you a video now that I want you to play. Yeah? You're gonna find it in your Gmail in a few seconds. Yeah. But yeah, that whole stream that we watched it together as a council like maybe a day ago or so. We could only stomach about 40 minutes of it before we literally had to lock it off and be like, no more, man. Like, because I don't know what that was, bro.
You know what, like you said, Hotstep, you couldn't do, and nor could I do, what Sister Phoenix Moon do and maintain her composure and not wild the fuck out with these guys making a complete mockery of this. It was a mockery, straight up. It was
for real. If I did me start cuss up some bumbo clock long time, so for real, and some suck your mother and them something there, for real, because I'm going to take it.
And you know, brothers and sisters, we're not doing this to like give these people any energy or airtime. We just have to say this. It has to be said. But hold on, Mr. Hotstep, you just sent me something.
Yeah, don't play the video just yet. Just get it ready in the meantime, though. So
doing that right.
The thing that I found interesting in the 40 minutes we did watch of that stream was good, Mr. Tyrese. How you doing, fam? The thing I found interesting was that piece of paper, that leaflet, basically, and it had no tribal affiliations on it. And you know, the lineage was meant to go back to a man called Guinea Jim. But I'm going to show you what the problem is with that. And I'm going to go to a screen share right now because, yeah. So, one once again, screen share. Right. Listen to everyone. Right, so this is The Economist. Why the world has so many guineas. From Canada to Oceania, guineas are in abundant supply. So, Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Papua New Guinea, the Gulf of Guinea, Guinea, Virginia, Guinea, Nova Scotia. The world has more guineas than the pirate's treasure chest. What explains the
Mr. Hardstepper.
Could you possibly rewind and come again?
Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Papua New Guinea, the Gulf of Guinea, Guinea, Virginia, Guinea, Nova Scotia. The world has more guineas than a pirate's treasure chest. What explains?
Go ahead, Mr. Hardstep.
What explains the prevalence of the name? Etymologists dispute the earliest origins of the word Guinea. Some trace it to a word in Tuareg, a Berber language for black people, Agenor. Others think it originally referred to the Djen, a trading city in modern-day Mali. In the 15th century, Portuguese sailors used Guin to describe an area near what is today Senegal. And by the 18th century, Europeans used Guinea to refer to much of the West African coastline. As colonizers carved up the continent, many European nations controlled their own Guinea. At independence, French Guinea became Guinea, Spanish Guinea became Equatorial Guinea, and Portuguese Guinea became Guinea-Bissau. The region was a major source of gold, hence the name Guinea for the British gold coin. In 1545, on the other side of the world, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Diego Ortiz de Retes landed on an island north of Australia. Struck by the resemblance between its inhabitants and people from West Africa, the Spanish explorer named the island New Guinea. The word Papa probably comes from the Malay Papua, meaning frizzled, perhaps a reference to the islanders here. Okay, so then if the people from New Guinea are Africans, why is it a Malay word? In addition to the various places, there are also animals.
Said got him.
In addition to the various places, there are also animals, the guinea pig most famously, and the guinea fowl. The guinea pig comes not from any of the guineas in Africa, but from South America. Muddled Europeans may have confused Guinea with Guyana, today South America's only English-speaking country. Guyana has nothing to do with Guinea. Its name probably comes from a native word meaning land of many waters. Some scholars, however, propose an alternative etymology for the guinea pig. The rodents were brought to Britain on Guinea men, trading ships that shuttled between Britain, South America, and Guinea. The guinea fowl, for its part, did come from West Africa, but it too has a complicated history. The birds were originally introduced to Britain via the Ottoman Empire and so were called turkeys. You get it? Turkey, turkey. Later, early English colonists in America confused the native birds there with the African fowl and called them turkey too. In fact, they are a larger and entirely separate species, all in all a linguistic mess. So look, even turkeys show you that we're not all from the same place. One is from the Americas and one isn't.
Facts.
Now let's get into the etymology of the word Guinea. Here we go. So look, here it's telling you as a noun, former British coin, 1660s from Guinea, because the coins were first minted for British trade with Guinea, but soon in domestic use and with gold from Africa. The original Guinea was in use from 1663 to 1813. And now, get into this part of the etymology. So region along the west coast of Africa, and then look, keyword, presumably from an African word. So people will jump onto terms like presumably, probably, we believe, and they'll be like, oh, facts, when it's conjecture. So they're telling you presumably, they assume it's from an African word, meaning it might not be or it just isn't. And then again, perhaps Tuareg, Agenor, black people, we read that part already. As a derogatory term for an Italian. 1896. It is from Guinea Negro, 1740s, black person, person of mixed ancestry. Applied to Italians, probably because of their dark complexions relative to Northern Europeans. And after 1911, it was occasionally applied to Hispanics and Pacific Islanders as well. New Guinea was so named 1546 by the Spanish explorer Ortiz de Retes in reference to the natives' dark skin and tightly curled hair. The guinea hen, 1570s, is a domestic fowl imported from there. All right, so Gambler, you can run on that video now. And again, this is from a game called Mafia 2.
Yes, which I shall momentarily be sharing the screen. You can see my screen, Mr. Hot Stepper.
Yes.
Okay, let me just get this in place. Because on my channel, I'll speak ill of YouTube, and I don't want it to happen to yours. Now, this is from, what is it from? Mafia? Was it what Mafia?
Mafia 2.
Mafia 2. I'm not really a gaming person as such, so forgive me. Fair use, and watch the gems.
I know you. You're that fucking guinea who was with Bobo in a jewelry store. I'm in this fucking hellhole because of you.
You got locked up because you're a stupid, crazy fuck.
You know, fellas, my mom was right. There is a God! And he sent you here, you guinea bastard, so that I could pay you back!
This looks interesting. Want to make a small bet?
Your guys clock that? Let me come again.
Yeah, play it again, fam.
You're that fucking guinea who was with Bobo in a jewelry. That fucking guinea who was with Bobo in a jewelry. You're that fucking guinea who was with Bobo in a jewelry. You're that fucking guinea who was with Bobo in a jewelry. You're that fucking guinea who was with Bobo in a jewelry store. I'm in this fucking hellhole because of you.
You got locked up because you're a stupid, crazy fuck.
You know, fellas, my mom was right. There is a God! And he sent you here, you guinea bastard. 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 So that I could pay you back!
This looks interesting. Want to make a small bet?
And you know, I'm the gambler. I'll take a piece of that action. I'll make a small wager. But I digress. Mr. Hot Stepper, back to you.
So I hope everybody caught that loud and clear. So yeah, the problem now is what type of Guinea was Guinea Jim, people? Can anybody answer that for me? Was he a Guinea Jim from Guinea? Was he a Guinea Jim from Guinea-Bissau? Was he a Guinea Jim from Equatorial Guinea? Was he an Italian? Was he a Caucasian? What kind of Guinea was Guinea Jim? And can someone tell me what tribe was he from? Does anyone know of a tribe called Guinea?
As you say across the pond, brothers and sisters, I'll wait. Mr. Hot Step, I'm still presenting.
No worries. All right, so I mean, look, let's just take a little look, shall we? So, ethnic groups of Guinea. This is the Conakry. Let's see who else we got. The Mandinka. Who else we got? The Susu. We've also got the Fulani, the Kissi, the Kapeli. So, which group was Guinea Jim from in here? What does the name Guinea tell us about which tribe he came from over here? And anybody else?
Oh, Jabari. You seem to have got yourself in a conundrum, haven't you?
let's move on to Guinea-Bissau. So in Guinea-Bissau, let's see who people we have here. All right, so again, we have the Fulani, we have the Landuma people, the Bijago people, the Diola people, the Nalu people, the Malinke people. So which one of these tribes did Guinea Jim come from in Guinea-Bissau? Which one was it? Food for thought. Let's go to Equatorial Guinea. Let's see who they've got over there. So look, we have the Fang people. We have the Bioko people. We have the Kombi people, the Mabia people, the Lengi, the Benga. So again, my question for everyone is what type of Guinea was Guinea Jim? Which one of these tribes in Equatorial Guinea, in Guinea-Bissau, or in Guinea did Guinea Jim come from? What does the name Guinea tell us about where Guinea Jim comes from? Can anyone in the chat answer that question?
More to the point, that question goes straight to Jankro Jabari himself. Well, you see, yes, I'm from Africa, and yeah, my family father was Guinea Jim. Yeah, whatever, mate. Phoenix Moon was right about you. You are definitely fruit and berries, no question.
Empress Homer said he comes from a guinea pig.
I killed.
Like, I'm not a scholar. Yeah, I'm not a master teacher. But so how were these guys not able to present this then? Oh, I know now. They choose not to.
Exactly.
How, bro? How are you gonna? How are you gonna be saying, well, you know, family lineage is good, is a good indicator, but how do I know they're not Africans? When there were tribal names you showed in the family tree, which are obviously from documents, that's how you get your people on Family Search and Ancestry.com. When you're building your family tree, you build it from records. You can't, you can't manually enter the racial classification of somebody on family tree. That's not how it works. So if there was tribal names on her family tree, it meant she got those from archives. Like, this is what I'm saying, man.
And like I said, it was a complete mockery. That's exactly what it was.
And then to insult the situation, you're going to put out a leaflet with a guy called Guinea Jim and no tribes listed on there. Because I've just shown you, Guinea Jim doesn't tell us what kind of Guinean Guinea Jim was. There's more than one Guinea. And we just shown you the different tribal names in each Guinea. How do you know he wasn't from New Guinea in Oceania? How do you know he wasn't a pale Italian that was labeled as a Guinea? Because we just showed you that Italians were called Guineas as well. So for all you know, in your blanket, generalized term, Guinea Jim, he could have been a Caucasian. You've not proved otherwise that he wasn't.
Exactly. Sister Rhonda says they don't know that because they haven't done theirs. I would beg to differ with you, sister. I have the complete strong feeling that these people know who they are. They've done their genealogy. Now they may not be hip to everything, so they will take notes and blah 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 blah, and then repackage it in their Pan-African, as you call it, Mr. Hot Step way. However, these people know Wagwan. They are simply Decepticons. Straight and simple like that.
Oh, I like that. Deceptive Decepticons.
Yeah, exactly. Disingenuous guineas. Let me stop.
Yeah, exactly. Empress Holber. To be honest, I even told Gambler this earlier. I never tuned into one of these people until DMX started talking about them and how to avoid them, I didn't know who these people were. The only time I've ever watched them live in the flesh was when Phoenix started going on there, and it was painful. It was so painful to watch. That's what I'm saying. We could only do 40 minutes of that part 2 before we had to lock it off. We were like, "No, man, this is too much."
Yeah, that is true, brothers and sisters. It got to the 45th minute or 50 minutes we was in, or whatever it was, and I was like, you know what, council, I can't watch this anymore because it's getting me vexed. However, I will say this: within that 45 to 50 minute time span of the video that we went through, the ICCC done flipping run through that, and at least what Mr. Hotstep, 15 chinks in the armor we exploited. And that's only 50 minutes of a 3-hour and 13-minute video. Enough said.
Yeah, I saw that, Seeker. Yeah, there's mad talking. That's what they have to do, isn't it? They ask you a question and then you don't ever actually, you know, answer it for the simple reason of not being allowed to. You get asked a question and then you can't even finish that question before you get given another question. You ask a question now and they're saying, "I don't think you understand what I said," or "No, answer the question," isn't it?
Exactly. And you see, the thing is as well, what they're doing is typical white tactics, as your brother Gambler likes to call it. You know,
sorry, she said his buck-eyed fish looking self. Did I say he looked like someone from Shark Tale?
You did, yes, you did, Huston. You did say that.
Oh, see, it's not just me, not Secret sees it as well, man.
You get me? Exactly. They're just doing simple white tactics, which are avoid and deflect. And it's not, I know this for the council, that shit don't fly with us. And I know there's other brothers and sisters in the chat now, and whether the silent viewers are watching right now, that shit don't fly with them neither. The gig is up. As even Ab Power said it, the gig done been up.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to reiterate, the gig is up. You've been teaching a whole heap of to our people, and this is costing our people their lives, their livelihood. You people who have the traitorous turncoat nature, your days are numbered. And it's as simple as that. And you're going to be exposed for the frauds that you are. Best believe that. So if I was you, sell off all your stock, pack up your and get the con, as you say across the pond. Get the con.
Well, we know they ain't doing that in a hurry. I'm just gonna confirm for you guys now. Look, we live in a city where you're 60 seconds away from a British-born so-called African person, and they don't know anything about SARNet or HOK. They don't listen to that stuff. I'm just telling you now, they don't listen to these people. They don't tune into them. They don't listen to them. They're not interested in anything they have to say. Most of them probably never even heard of them before. Like, these guys are living within a make-believe world that exists within North America. That's as far as their clout goes.
Exactly. You know, like Brother Hotstep said, we'll talk to so-called Africans that come over here. No, Hotstep, what is this? What is this Sarnetta TV? I do not know what is Sarnetta TV. They're not, like you said, they're not interested. And more to the point as well, why doesn't Sar Cheddar actually have some tribal elders from the so-called motherland come over? Has anyone ever thought about it? We touched upon this earlier on. Mr. Hotstep did, but I'm just reiterating it.
Right. Yeah. I
And
mean,
another point I'd like to bring up. Go ahead.
No, build, bro. Go ahead.
No, I'm just, because you brought up another point as well. Why is it, and you said this earlier on, why is it that it's only us Aborigines who are targeted with this DNA shit? I don't see Chinese people being targeted with this DNA. Yeah, take this DNA, Chinaman, to prove that you're a Chinaman.
No one's ever run up on them and said, "Yo, you're looking kind of Korean today. I need you to prove the facts."
Yeah, you look Japanese, but you look a little bit like you've got Chinese. I need to take this DNA test. They'll look upon you ready to chop you now. Hey, listen, he's off myself, you know.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. There's only one group of people. There's only two groups of people doing that ancestry thing: modern Europeans and the original people of the Americas. Apart from that, no one else is doing that test. So again, if you're the only two people participating in that test, whose DNA are they matching up with yours? There's only one other group of people to choose from that are taking that test. Europeans.
Facts.
It's not hard, man. Why do our people make things so difficult? There's two groups of people taking the test: your delusional self and modern Europeans. So whose DNA are they matching yours against? You only have one other choice to choose from, and they'll be like, well.
It's like that, isn't it? It's ask the audience 50-50 or phone a friend.
Yeah, like phone a friend, and you've only got two options left to choose from. You've only got one. Like, you cleared the board, and you've only got one option left to choose from, and you're still gonna, I'm gonna phone Derek at home. This is a hard one. Like, no. No, it's not.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a whole shambles, man.
It was a shambles. But once again, the ICCC, on behalf of the ICCC, would like to say big shout out to our sister Phoenix Moon. Stood your ground, and you stood your ground with grandma on your side. Salute to you. Well done. Standing ovation.
Straight
Real
up.
talk.
So yeah, people, we just had to lighten up the the finale with some light humor. But it's been good, people. It's been good. So once again, shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to everybody in the council. Shout out to everybody out there in the world of YouTube for the great content and for the great live streams. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more stuff, interacting with more of you, and just keeping the ball rolling and just learning more and more from you guys and learning more from myself, and just seeing where the council goes, where we all go really from here. And
for real,
it's exciting times, man. I feel excited about it all.
Same as.
So
they can't stop it. You know, I don't know who it was who mentioned in the chat earlier on. The information will not be stopped. The council will not be stopped. Tribe Up will not be stopped. DMX will not be stopped. Phoenix Moon will not be stopped. All the brothers and sisters, Wanagi, Nepi, Empress Holbert, Rainstorm. I ain't gonna mention the rest of everybody's names, but big ups all to you. We will not be stopped. It's that simple. We're gonna bust this place down. I say, forward to charge, everybody. Tally ho, yes. That's me.
All right, people. So this has been Copper Hot Step and the ICCC, and we're now going to hit you with some outro music, but we're gone. So take it easy, people.
Yes, peeps. So this is our last one going out. Sounds of Pat Kelly. Tune entitled "Angel in the Morning." Listen.
There'll be no strings to bind your hand. Darling, my love can find your heart. And there's no need to take a stand, for it was I who chose to start. I see no need to take me home. I'm old enough to face the door. Just call me angel of the morning. Maybe the sunlight will be dim, and it won't matter anyhow. If morning echoes say that we sinned, well, it was what I wanted now. And if we're victims of the night, I won't be blinded by the light. Hey, baby, just call me angel of the morning, angel. Just touch my cheek before you leave me, baby. Just call me angel of the morning, angel. Then slowly turn away from me. Maybe the sun's light will be dim, and it won't matter anyhow. If morning echoes say that we sinned, well it was what I wanted now. And if we're victims of the night, I won't be blinded by the light. Let me tell you, baby, that just call me angel of the morning, angel. Just touch my cheek before you leave me, baby, baby. Just call me angel of the morning, angel. Then slowly turn away from me. Yeah. Just call me angel of the morning, angel. Just touch my cheek before you leave me.
Once again, sounds of the Pat Kelly, tune entitled Angel of the Morning. And that wraps up the inaugural episode of Out of the Blue. Hopefully the next episode we should have more Brother Blue on it. And want to say once again, brothers and sisters, silent viewers, listeners, thank you for tuning in. Hit the bell twice. Watch for the notifications. And more importantly, AMER'ICAN, Aborigines, rise. And we out. Peace.